Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Are you ready to hear some r/PettyRevenge read by Red? That's me. If you are, here we go. Coffee shop revenge. I work at a coffee shop, doing things any barista would do. I make coffees, bus tables, and deal with annoying customers. Lots of annoying customers. One customer in particular has aggravated me enough that I have dubbed him as my arch nemesis. For the sake of this story, he shall be called Tad. Tad orders a modified drink that is no longer on our menu, and at this point, we just make it for him. Making the drink wouldn't be such a big deal if he were gracious, polite, or had a shred of human decency, but he unfortunately is lacking in all three. So, I have made a point of messing with his drink every time I see him come in. Now, I've seen stories where people will spit in the food or put other undesirable substances in the product being made. While those are funny, I really don't want to do anything that could get me fired, so instead I will accidentally spill chocolate syrup on the outside of his cup. It's a little thing, and it's really hard to prove there was any kind of malicious intent in the spill. I mean, it's a coffee shop, accidents happen. But Tad will have chocolate syrup all over his hands, and it will be mildly irritating for him. The satisfaction of knowing Tad will have sticky hands is well worth our interactions I subsequently have to put up with. It's the little things that make me love my job. Yes, Petty. Okie dokie, give the like button a pokey and let's get on with our next story. Bought house, old owners were cheap. We bought a house a couple of months ago and the sellers insisted that we pay several small fees that are customarily covered by the seller. The total was $187, and in comparison to the house price, we weren't going to walk away over something so small. We renovated the house and there was a table/credenza thing that had been built into the entryway. After demo, we were planning on throwing it out. When one of the neighbours noticed we'd put it outside to be thrown out, they texted the old owners to see if they wanted it, as it was something they had said they loved about the house. The old owners text me, since we're getting rid of it anyway, surely we wouldn't mind if they came by and picked it up instead. I told them, interestingly, we had recently got an offer from someone else to buy it for $187. Since it was theirs originally, I told them we'd be happy to part with it for $188. They dropped the check off and picked it up a week later. I wonder if they realized that that's the same amount of money that they made you pay. Alright, here's another one. I'm slowly hoarding my mum's kitchen utensils. So, my mother drinks a lot of coffee, always with some form of dairy and sugar. So she stirs her sugar in and then leaves the dirty spoon on the counter. Every single time. And for some reason it drives me nuts. I've asked her why can't she just rinse it under the tap and put it in the drying rack, but she says she's just lazy and stuck in her ways. So now every time I see a dirty teaspoon on the counter, I wash it and squirrel it away. It's been about a week and I have an entire jar worth of silverware on my desk. At first it was just the spoons, then those began growing scarce, so she began stirring her coffee with whatever was available. Steak knives, forks, tablespoons. She's a goddamn animal, and I'm bringing some civility to the jungle. She recently asked my grandmother who lives downstairs if she has any of our silverware. She knows something is not quite right, but I'm gonna keep this going for as long as I can. And then one more day after that. I drink a lot of coffee, and I used to be so guilty of doing this. But I don't have sugar, so I just don't stir my coffee anymore. Okay, here is another story. Neighbour would call the cops on us every time we had people over in college. Well over a decade ago, some buddies and I were renting a house together in college. We were all 21 plus and this wasn't a wild crowd at all. We were all in different majors and never had loud parties. We had some neighbours who were a lesbian couple who were college professors. At least one of them was a women's studies professor. It is my sincere belief that they disliked us simply because we were early 20s males, but I can't read minds. Every time we would have people over for drinks, they would call the cops. Cops show up, see we're all of age and quiet and leave without incident. Super annoying. After months of this, I decide one day to practice some basketball at our house. Neighbour comes over loudly complaining about the noise. My brain starts ticking. Oh, so that annoys you? I practice basketball at our house every day for a week. Stop for a while. They call the cops on us again sometime later. I practice basketball every day for a week at our house. Suddenly, the calls to the cops stop. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Unless you're doing it 24/7, everyone's allowed to have a party now and again.
Here's another story just for you.
Cut in line and I'll cut right back. So I was waiting in the self-checkout line at the supermarket and got to the end of the line, and this lady got there a few seconds after me from the opposite direction and stood in front of me. I'm not a confrontational person, so I didn't say anything but started plotting. She gets to the front of the line and I see a self-checkout open that she hasn't noticed. I walk straight past her towards the checkout. She yells out, excuse me, in the most shocked voice, which honestly made it so much better for me. Okay, here's the next story. Endanger my life. Someone's taxes just went up. I have a neighbour who thinks he can do whatever he wants. I live in a pretty rural area and we all have large tracts of land. His is next to mine. He trespasses all the time, hunts out of season, commonly known as poaching, and is pretty much a pain in the butt. One day he decides it's perfectly fine to shoot his gun in our direction and continues to do it even after we yelled and said, "There's people over here, stop!" I might add that the police here are pretty much worthless. But you see, I have a very long memory. This stupid guy built a huge house and barn on his place. But the tax records here show that he only owns a vacant lot and has been paying almost nothing in taxes for over 10 years. He never told the county he built his house and barn. Oops, bad boy. So I waited about a year and a half to cover my trail. And this spring, the county auditor is getting an anonymous letter from a concerned citizen showing photographs of the house, the exact parcel number, and a Google overhead view of the property, date of his first build, and more information to bolster the case. Somebody's going to be paying a lot of back taxes. Paying back taxes is gonna suck, but he shot at you? And this is it? I think you need to come up with something a little bit more than petty revenge here. I hope you guys enjoyed those r/petty revenge stories, read by me, Red. Please give the video a like if you did enjoy them, and don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already. Okay, have a good rest of your day.